So good afternoon. Welcome to voting list number 19. This is Tuesday, April 1st. And guess what? This was all a joke. We're not meeting today, and I'm just kidding. So this is the Health and Government Operations Committee, and we have a few bills to vote on. Just for the public, a lot of these bills we have seen already, okay? We have worked them and have studied them and have people come in for and against to give testimony. And we've seen it in one fashion or another. So if you see us go fast, it doesn't mean we don't care, okay? We have seen them. We do have a withdrawal, and that is House Bill 1298. Is there a concern about this withdrawal? Is there a motion? The bill has been moved and second. All those in favor of this withdrawal say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Seeing none, the bill is withdrawn. Let's go to House Bill 429, Delegate Collison, Health Facilities Delegation of Inspection Authority Nursing Home. Favorable with amendment, Lisa and Collison. Lisa. Oh, is that the allow this? Oh my goodness.
House Bill 1190.
1 second. Oh, I'm so sorry. You know what? My staff takes very good care of me, and they did put the list right in front of me. So it's my bad. My bad. All right, so let's go to House Bill 1199, Delegate Hill, Physicians Licensing Internationally Trained Physicians, favorable with amendment, Lindsay and Rosenberg.
This bill authorizes the Maryland Board of Physicians beginning October 1st, 2027 to issue a license to practice medicine to a physician licensed in a country other than the United States, its territories or possessions, Puerto Rico or Canada, who meet specified requirements. The term of the license may not exceed 3 years, and the license may not be renewed. The board may revoke the license if the licensee practices outside the scope of the license, has their employment terminated, has been subject to disciplinary action, or is no longer eligible for the license, and the board must adopt regulations for the implementation, administration, and enforcement, including minimum qualifications and application fees, conditions applicable to a licensee, and a pathway to full licensure. The amendments that are in your packet adopted in subcommittee remove the requirement that an applicant submit certain evidence related to discipline, requires the applicant to have practiced medicine for 5 of the 7 years immediately preceding the date of the application, and authorizes the board to determine an applicant is ineligible for licensure under certain circumstances. This was in subcommittee quite a while back, but the bill has a high fiscal note for special funds for the Board of Physicians, and we just got appropriations approval for that.
Okay. Delegate Rosenberg.
The subcommittee felt this was consistent with other actions we're taking to deal with a physician shortage and moved favorable.
All right. So the amendments have been moved and second. Any questions or concerns on the amendments? Delegate Riley.
On these amendments, when I was looking through the notes, so there were like 7 organizations, prominent organizations that wanted an amendment. Did these amendments address their concerns, like MedChi, Johns Hopkins, MHA, quite 7, and I can go on. University of Maryland, another one, Advanced Technology.
Delegate Hill, could you address that, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So in part, the main ones, MedChi, the board, all of that, it addresses theirs. The University of Maryland Faculty of Physicians and Hopkins wanted some additional things to allow for them to use this licensure as a way of recruiting. They didn't want the person to have lived in Maryland. So we did not accept those amendments because there needs to be a nexus. We're not trying to become a state where anybody who wants to take a short path just asks for Maryland. We want it to be people who are living in Maryland. So the main amendments, which were 5 of 7 years, and making sure that we were clear that the board had the ability to determine if a past discipline were disqualifying or have been adequately satisfied and was not disqualifying. So those are so for the most part, the amendments were addressed, but not 100%.
And then to follow up, so what is the fiscal note now? Because we had to get approval, right? So what is it now, the fiscal note?
So the fiscal note is still what it was, which is 230-some thousand, 281.61. But because the Board of Physicians raises fees to pay for all of its expenses and none of it comes out of the general fund, the Appropriations Committee approved it. So it's all special funded.
Thank you.
And if these doctors get approved, they have to pay the fees as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Good questions, Delegate Riley. Delegate Chisholm.
I just want to understand, is this more for recruitment purposes? Or are we talking about there's people here now that could become eligible and receive their license, but they can't because they got it internationally? And do we know how many people that is? Or is this more, hey, we're doing everything possible to get more people here?
Latter. It's people who are already here, who have practiced medicine for at least 5 years in another country and they've also trained in another country. And current law, the process would require them to repeat a residency training program. So this would allow, if they meet certain criteria, for them to be licensed based on that past experience for a period of 3 years. And during that time, the expectation is, as the board sets up the regulations, there would be some other kinds of coursework and requirements to make sure that they meet certain standards of care, et cetera, et cetera. So this is not a recruitment tool. And so the request by, say, the University of Maryland physicians and Hopkins physicians to eliminate that provision I mentioned was rejected because that would make it a recruitment tool.
Do we have an idea how many people we're talking about that
No.
might be in the state of Maryland right now
No.
that would,
We don't.
no clue?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Delegate Hill, do other states have similar laws?
California has a process by which they actually bring physicians in from Mexico to provide care for a limited number of years. I think it's 3 years, and then they're required to go back. But they have reported that they really get excellent care from them, and they're looking at whether they can make those licensures more permanent. But what is happening now is multiple states are looking at this. There are several states that have passed legislation like Tennessee, but they're having difficulty figuring out how to implement it. And what we do know is when this was raised by the chairman of the Board of Physicians at the Federation of National Boards of Physicians, that it was a very hot topic, and states around the country are looking at how to get this done. And the Federation itself is looking at what role it can play in helping to determine which countries would be appropriate for granting this kind of bypass or alternative route, because they would be able to attest to the standards of care in the other countries, et cetera. So we think a lot of the work that the board is looking to do, we will be assisted by a national organization.
Thank you. Delegate Alston, followed by Hutchinson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really like the bill. I actually think my question may have been answered. My concern was with the 1 year of residency. Is that going to be an impediment because they have to have practiced 5 of the 7 previous years, but we're taking a year away from that?
I think the way it's meant to be, and I think if the language is not clear, we may need to address it, is that 5 of 7 years before they came here.
Date of application.
Oh, okay.
It says
Then
the
I
date of the
think that's an
application.
excellent point, and we can take a look at that.
Yeah,
Right.
I really like it. I just don't want to
Right.
create further challenges, because if they're here for a year
Yep.
before they are even eligible to apply,
Right.
then we're taking that practice time
So let me take
away.
that to the board and to
Okay.
McKay and to the work group, because we had a work group on this. I think it's an excellent point, and I appreciate your bringing it up, because in fact, we were looking at physicians who are already living here, have lived here for a few years and had practiced for extended periods of time. We wanted this to be a pathway for them too. So we'll certainly raise.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it said domicile, if you could get rid of the time period for them to have lived here, if they're domiciled here, then you don't have to wait like a year.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Thought.
And you don't mind if we
Then we
vote
can
it,
just
right?
take that.
Because of the timing, and you can
Yeah,
continue
we
to
can just
work it
take
out?
that. Yep.
Okay. All
So,
right.
so can you give me how you would suggest we do that?
Okay.
I suggested that they be domiciled in the state, which shows their intent to be here and remain here. Without a time frame.
Without a time frame?
Yeah. Yep.
Do you want to vote on
I'd like
that
to move
amendment in
that amendment.
concept?
I'd like to move that amendment in concept,
But
yeah,
let's hold
and
on to
we'll
it.
clear it with the board and.
Yeah, all right, so I have Vanzari, followed by Hutchinson, followed by Kaiser.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really like the bill. Would the sponsor agree that this bill is responsibly expands our physician workforce by allowing internationally trained doctors who have a WHO recognized medical degree, right? And at least 5 years of clinical experience, 2 years of postgraduate, and passing scores, right? Passing scores on all 3 steps of USMLE to practice under time limited license. Did I understand this bill correctly?
Correct, and that the board will also develop a pathway, if you look on the third page, to provide a pathway to full licensure after licensee successfully satisfies any licensing conditions established by the board under item 2. So this is supposed to be their abbreviated alternative pathway to full licensure.
Thank you.
I have Delegate Hutchinson, followed by Delegate Kaiser.
Ready?
Yes.
So I don't know if this still exists in the bill, but the fiscal note says the term of the license may not exceed 3 years and the license may not be renewed. Why is that?
Correct. So the idea is that they get one shot at this alternative pathway. And if they meet all they get to practice, and during that time, the additional evaluations and things are going on. And if they have passed it in those 3 years, then they should be able to qualify for a full regular licensure without any restrictions.
Okay, this temporary license doesn't get renewed.
Right.
They can
Right, they get
continue to practice.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Delegate Kaiser.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Being that you're considering another amendment, and I just can't believe if, it's not an April Fool's joke, but I'd like to jump on a comment from Delegate Chisholm for the second time today. But he was questioning how many people would this impact. Would it harm the bill to have a reporting requirement? And could that be added in?
No, I don't think it would harm the bill.
Yeah, it's not going to harm it, but we can also ask the board,
'Cause they-
once it goes into implementation, how many licenses, because it's going to be a special one, have they received? But I
A
don't
nice
wanna
letter
add
from
to
the chair. Okay, thank you.
To the fiscal note.
Okay,
But
thank
thank
you.
you.
The other question is, over what period of time?
Oh, yeah.
Like, in a year, in 5 years?
But can
So
you
it's-
remind me, we'll make a note for me to send a letter, please?
Because we can
okay?
certainly, we can ask them where they are a year from now.
Yeah.
We're in communication with the board on a regular basis.
Yeah,
And then once they start, then they report to us every 5 years.
I just don't want any, at this late, I don't want any new stuff, new issues.
Thank
We
you.
can deal, but that's a great point. Delegate Kipke.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. To the bill sponsor, I'm not familiar with this part that speaks to the passing score, step 1, step 2, step 3. Can you explain that, and is it consistent with what physicians pass now in the U.S.? And then the second question is, when you're becoming a physician, you are supervised for a period of time. I can't remember how long, but a long time, I think. Are these people also supervised as well as a part of their requirements? So the testing is my question, and is there supervision?
Correct. So when we talk about that they've received a degree, I'm going to look at page 2, has received a degree of Doctor of Medicine or its equivalent from a legally chartered medical school outside the United States, its territory, Puerto Rico or Canada, that is recognized by the World Health Organization, has completed at least 2 years of postgraduate training in the country in which the applicant is licensed, that is equivalent to a postgraduate residency program accredited by the Accreditation Council of the Graduate Medical Education. That's the supervisory period that you're talking about. So yes, they would have had to have a residency, right? And then as far as the testing, these are the same examinations that we require of any medical school graduate who's coming from out of the country, and also the equivalent of what we're requiring from medical school graduated in American schools, U.S. schools.
Thank you all for the questions and for the good discussion. Are there any other? Yeah, can let me
that I
finish.
think the committee,
Can you let me finish? Okay, it's okay. So we're going to continue with the discussion. Go ahead, Delegate Hill. I
quick
forgot
point.
already. Go ahead.
Is that one of the nice things if when we get this up and running is that the alternative pathway that exists now, that they have to do a residency program, that means that U.S. graduates don't have those slots to do residency programs. So it's not just allowing these foreign qualified physicians who have practiced to practice as physicians. It's also opening up residency slots for U.S. graduates to fill.
Wonderful. All right, Delegate Bandari?
One more bite. Madam Chair, thank you. And one of the requirement I really like is ECFMG certification, right? That means that the person, they have to pass USMLE step 1 and 2, that is clinical knowledge. And the person also need to prove English language proficiency, right? Through a former step 2 CS exam or current alternative. And their identity and credential will be thoroughly verified. So they're not kind of random, they have a knowledge and everything. So our constituents, Marylander, will be protected. Do you agree on that?
Correct. The license, when physicians are licensed in Maryland, they're licensed to practice medicine. We do not license by specialty. If they have a particular specialty, it'll be up to the board who certifies the specialty, what process they will go through to determine if they can be a cardiologist here or rheumatologist here or what have you. We don't license by specialty.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, seeing none, tell me what the amendments are. We move the ones, the Rosenberg move, and we moved in second, right?
We have the edit to is domiciled in the state.
So let's take one at a time. So on the one that Rosenberg moved, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Seeing none, the amendment passes. The next amendment, please.
So if you look in your packet on page 2, line 30, the amendment originally, or the bill, excuse me, originally read has resided in the state for at least 1 year. That line would be changed to is domiciled in the state.
Okay.
No time period.
Any concerns or questions on that amendment? And Delegate Hill, you will take care of it. All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition to that amendment? The third one. Are we done? Okay, great.
Co-sponsors.
All right. So let's just, all those in favor of that second one say aye. Aye. Any objection on the bill as amended with the two amendments? The bill has been moved in second. Any questions or concerns on the bill as amended with the two amendments? Seeing none of those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Who does not want to be on the bill? Raise your hand. Delegate Kipke, Delegate Riley, Delegate Chisholm, and Delegate Morgan, and Delegate Hutchinson. And for the record, Delegate Lopez and Delegate Shalaker are excused. Okay? All right, thank you everyone for the great discussion. I really appreciate it. Let's move on to Senate Bill 423, Senator Bidel. Maryland Medical Practice Act and Maryland Physician Assistant Act revisions. It is favorable. Lindsay and Rosenberg.
This is a cross-file of House Bill 776, which passed the House 136 to 1.
The bill has been moved in second. Any questions or concerns? All those, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Seeing none, let's move on to Senate Bill 456, Dental Services. Qualifications for Maryland Dental Care Program. Favorable. Lindsay and Rosenberg.
This one's cross-file is House Bill 265. The vote on that was 122 to 13.
Okay. Any questions or concerns on this bill? It's been moved in second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Seeing none, the bill passes.
Do you guys want to vote against it?
Thanks for the reminder.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so let's go to 491.
Yeah, so on the floor, Kipke, Chisholm, Morgan, and Shalaga voted against it.
You want to just play it by ear? Okay.
Somebody else.
Okay. On 456, Senator McKay, the dental, no. Is that the one we're on? Okay, so for no, then let me start again. For the no's are Chisholm, Morgan, okay, that's it. All right, Senate Bill 491, Senator Guile, General Provisions, Veterans Benefit, Honorable Discharge, favorable, Lindsay and Kerr. Lindsay.
So this isn't quite identical to the cross-file HB 699, which had a unanimous vote on the floor, but Senator Giles' aide just testified that she preferred the Senate bill language. It was very similar and functionally the same, but no amendment needed. The House bill would need to be amended to conform to the Senate.
Okay, any questions or concerns about it? Seeing none, all those in favor say, oh, is there a motion? It's been moved in second. Any questions or concerns? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Seeing none, the bill passes. Unanimous. Senate Bill 764, Senator Zucker, State Destination State Mineral Chromite. State Mineral Act. It is favorable. It is Lindsay and Kerr. Chromite.
This is identical to House Bill 411.
Bill has been moved in second. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Seeing none, what was it, Delegate Kerr?
Well, that's what I was going to hold my.
Let's go later, okay? Let's talk about that. Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? All right. The bill passes. Senate Bill 854, Senator Lewis Young, Health Occupation License Direct Entry Midwest Revision. Favorable, Lindsay and Rosenberg.
This is identical to HB 838.
Bill has been moved in second. Any questions or concerns? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Seeing none, it passes. We are done for this voting list, but we do have a concurrence. Lisa, two of them.
No, one.
I have one.
Okay, so two, I'll vote, okay.
So this one is regarding House Bill 995, the work group to study the rights and adverse decisions in the state healthcare system. Basically, the amendment adds a physician member to the work group to study the rights and adverse decision in the state healthcare system. With the amendment, the bill is identical to Senate Bill 776, and it passed the House 132-0. So what I would suggest is that we move to concur. Is there a motion? Second. It's been moved in second. All those in favor of the concurrence say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Seeing none, it passes. This second one is House Bill 723, a State Board of Dental Examiners applicant licensed or certified in another state. The bill requires the State Board of Dental Examiners to issue a license to a dentist or dental hygienist licensed in another state within 15 days after receiving the applicant's completed application if the applicant otherwise meets the requirements for licensure. The bill also specifies the requirements a dental radiation technologist authorized to practice in another state must meet to be quality for a DRT certificate from BDE. If an applicant for a DRT certificate authorized to practice in another state meets the requirement for certification, the Board of Dental Examiner must issue the certificate within 15 days after receiving the completed application. So what we're doing here is that I suggest that we move to concur with the Senate amendment because the amendment requires Maryland Department of Health to develop a plan for a temporary or permanent authorization to practice a health occupation in the state for individuals who are not licensed in the state and hold a license or other authorization in another state. This is basically the amendment that we put in last week regarding the federal employees that are getting fired, so many of them. So I would advise the committee to move to concur. Second. It's been moved in second. Any questions or concerns about the concurrence? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Seeing none, we're moving to concur. Michelle, do I give you this? I keep them?
Madam Chair, can I change a vote?
Yes.
I'd like to, on Senate Bill 854, I'd like to change to no. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Oh, I remember that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we are done with voting for now. I just want you to keep in mind that now is the time. I believe we don't have any more hearings. Am I right? We're done with hearings. However, we're going to be voting on the stuff that comes to concur, the stuff that comes, from the subcommittee, so I need you to be flexible. We may even have to vote when we get off the floor as well in the silver room. I just need you to be, whoever gave me this, thank you, to be Gumby, okay? So can you bring us down and then.